Well, good morning. The Upper Peninsula State Fair is coming up very soon. And this morning we'll talk about that and more as we put the spotlight on Delta County. It starts right now.
From TV6, this is The Ryan Report. Here's your host, Don Ryan.
Well, our guest this morning has played a key leadership role in Delta County for many years. Vicki Mishaw is the Executive Director of the Delta County Chamber of Commerce, but she's active in a number of other organizations focusing on community and economic development in the county. We're pleased she could join us this morning. Vicki, welcome back to the Ryan Report.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's great to be here again.
Nice to have you with us. You know, we definitely want to talk about the fair and some other things going on in Delta County, but you know, in general, how are things going?
Actually, everything is going very, very well in Delta County. Our EDA director has an expression that the future is so bright, we need to wear shades. Wow. And I guess, yes, absolutely. And I absolutely believe that she is right. There are a lot of very positive activities going on in Delta County, and our Commerce Center is very pleased to be part of it.
Okay. And you've been the director now for 19 years?
Yeah, I started in 1999.
Okay.
Yes, June of 1999. It's been a great ride. Loved every minute of it, and it's certainly a pleasure getting up and going to work in the mornings.
And you're the director of the chamber, but you're also somewhat involved with some of the other organizations too, so you know what's going on.
Yes, yes. So we have our concept in Delta County is that we have a commerce center, and so while I'm the director of the Delta County Chamber of Commerce, we also manage, if you will, the Commerce Center. So we have independent boards and independent directors, but we all work together so incredibly well that we are in tune to what all the organizations are doing.
And that involves the EDC and some other groups as well?
Yes. Delta County Economic Development Alliance is housed in the Commerce Center. Visit Escanaba, which is our Convention and Visitors Bureau, is in the Commerce Center. The Builders Exchange, of course, the Chamber of Commerce, and then now as the managing agent of the UP State Fair, we are housing, if you will, the activities for the UP State Fair as well.
And I mentioned this before, but we'll do it again because a lot of people think Delta County, okay, that's Escanaba and Gladstone, but it's really, you know, we've got Rock and Nema and the Garden Peninsula.
Bark River, Ford River, absolutely.
Fayette, you know,
yes, yes.
A lot of things going on in Delta County.
And you know, it was fun for us. We spend a lot of time recruiting people to this area, obviously. And recently we had a group from Kentucky in that they took a bus tour through Delta County. So we meet them in the Garden Peninsula area and run them through Delta County and talk about all the very positive things and the attributes and the attractions of Delta County. But we also take the opportunity to talk a lot about the Upper Peninsula. As a matter of fact, before they leave Delta County and go on, this particular tour was on their way to Wisconsin, we make them honorary Yoopers, tell them they're ambassadors for our area, and encourage them to come back and bring their friends. Okay.
Like I say, a lot of the focus tends to go to Escanaba and Gladstone, but last summer, again, I had a chance to visit Fayette, and it's just so nice to go down there on a beautiful summer day.
Beautiful, beautiful state park. We're so fortunate to have them.
Yeah. Let's talk about a big project that you've got going. The Chamber announced several months ago, or the Commerce Center announced, that you're going to be building a new home.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. This is something your organization has been planning for many years?
I think if you go back and you look at some of the master plans and the planning documents for Delta County, particularly in Escanaba, many times it's been mentioned that the Chamber of Commerce would be better suited for our members if we were in a more visible, more accessible location. So that has been in the works for a long time, probably 20 years as I remember it. And so it's been part of the plan. We've been working toward that end, and we're very, very fortunate that the John and Melissa Bessie Foundation decided that it was something that they would consider. While we call it the Commerce Center, it's going to be so much more than a Commerce Center. It's, you know, we get to talk about it. We get to be the group that organizes and manages the facility. But the reality is that it's so much more.
Okay, and we'll talk about that. I want to find out more about John and Melissa Bessie.
Yes.
I know they've been very generous with grants.
Incredibly generous to not only this community in Delta County, but in all the communities in which they operate. There are so many ways that they have contributed to improve the quality of life in not only Delta County, as I said, but in the communities in which their businesses are located. They've just met so many unmet needs. We are so fortunate that they found this project worthy of their contribution.
And again, this new building will be built on the Escanaba Fairgrounds?
Yes, it will.
And there's plenty of room? And
yeah, plenty of room. It will be in the southeast corner by the antique steam and gas engine village, which was part of the reason why we looked at this project. We will be, if you will, the staff that will support the steam and gas engine village, and then we'll also be there to support not only the UP Veterans Museum, but also the Webster Marble Museum, which will be located there as well.
We'll talk more about all of those things in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with more on the Ryan Report after we take this break. Our guest this morning is Vicki Mischa, the Executive Director of the Delta County Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be talking about the fair in a little bit, but we want to continue to talk about this new building because this is a great project for Delta County. Let's talk some more about it. First of all, I know it's going to include the Webster Marble outdoor exhibit. What is that?
So the Webster Marble Museum is the museum that was most frequently visited when it was housed in the History Center in Lansing. So there were more people, more guests that visited that exhibit than any other exhibit. So what had happened was the exhibit then moved to the Iron Museum in Negaunee, and it again has been very popular there as well. Well, once this building was in the works and we were planning the Commerce Center and the multi-purpose building on the fairgrounds, there were several people who said, let's see if we can move the Webster Marble Museum back home to Delta County. So we were fortunate enough to work very, very closely with the original owner of the artifacts, Dennis Pace, who had donated the exhibits to the Michigan History Center. He worked very closely with the State Center, and they said, you know, we'll help bring the exhibit back to Delta County. We'll give you the technical guidance and direction that you need to establish the museum there.
Okay, and what are the main features?
Yeah, so many features. Of course, a lot. As you learn more about Webster Marble and his entrepreneurial spirits and the products that he developed, you're going to see all of that told in a story within the 3,000 square foot museum that will be in the complex. So as far as that part of it, it's very, very interactive. It's larger than the exhibit that is right now in Negaunee. What we will have is a Model T touring vehicle, which will be part of the exhibit, and then an interactive campsite that will also be part of the exhibit. So it'll be a little bit larger than the one that's in Negaunee, and as large as the one that was in Lansing, that again was the most frequently visited exhibit.
Other features then, this is kind of a UP Welcome Center, you said?
Yes, absolutely. So because the UP State Fair is supported by all of the counties in the Upper Peninsula, we're happy to say that we will also be offering a UP virtual tour of the Upper Peninsula. It will be a UP Welcome Center. Of course, we'll encourage people through Visit Escanaba to stay in Delta County, use that as a hub, and then visit other attractions and activities across the Upper Peninsula.
And there's also a UP Veterans Museum included here?
Yes, and actually I have to say that while the Commerce Center was an important aspect of this, I think that the motivating factor for both John and Melissa Bessie's Foundation and a lot of the organizations that are supporting this in Delta County was the fact that it was going to honor UP veterans. So there will be artifacts and stories that'll be told as a result of having this UP Veterans Museum as part of the complex. We've worked with the veterans groups across the Upper Peninsula. They certainly are giving their support and are very anxious to have a UP-wide museum in honor of UP veterans.
And you mentioned the Bessie Foundation is also involved because of the economic development aspect?
Yes, so every aspect of the center will have some sort of a feature for John and Melissa Bessie, of course. So as far as the Commerce Center, it certainly is going to recognize the economic and community development contributions of John and Melissa Bessie's foundation and of course their businesses.
Okay, and I understand this Welcome Center is going to be pretty high-tech operation.
Yes, it will be high-tech. So what we're hoping for would be touchscreen kiosks so that people can get real-time information about businesses and services that are offered in Delta County and across the Upper Peninsula as well. And calendar of events and business directories, and just, you know, give a very, very real-time report and information about what's happening in Delta County.
So visitors can come in and get the specific information
Yes,
they need as a
yes.
result of this.
And
center being
printed, yep, without having to worry about having brochures that, you know, almost as soon as you print them, they become outdated.
right. And there will also be an office there for the UP State Fair, is that?
UP State Fair, yes, and of course, you know, it's a year-round operation. So while the majority of the activity takes place in the 1st of May through the end of August, you know, we're getting ready for the fair, and so there's a lot, or for all of the activities on the fairgrounds. So there's a lot of activities and a lot of things that we're taking care of year-round.
When do you hope to be in this new building?
Well, as far as our timeline, we are anticipating the groundbreaking to take place during the governor's visit on Thursday during the fair. We'll break ground then, and then construction will be probably a year-long process.
Okay.
We're hoping that we'll have a ribbon cutting during the 2019 UP State Fair.
Okay. Well, it sounds great. Speaking of the fair, we're going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with more on the Ryan Report just 2 minutes from now. Our guest again this morning is Vicki Mishaw, the Executive Director of the Delta County Chamber of Commerce. Let's talk about the fair. First of all, the fair actually goes back to 1928 in Escanaba, doesn't it?
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. But in 2009, it almost went away, didn't it?
It did. It did. When the state of Michigan decided that it was going to get out of the fair business, a group of determined people from across the Upper Peninsula decided that it was absolutely going to continue. And it was, you know, for many reasons. Obviously, it was important to all of the Upper Peninsula as we hit all of the important mission topics and items of the UP State Fair Authority. So obviously we wanted to preserve they wanted to preserve the tradition and the culture of the UP State Fair. We needed to absolutely make sure it continued, and I will say that the very first year after the state graciously gave the operations to the Upper Peninsula, that I think that it continued on without people noticing there was any change in the way business was conducted on the fairgrounds.
And it continues to be very successful.
Very successful every year, you know, thanks to Mother Nature and the guidance and direction that we receive from the UP State Fair Authority. The fair is better every single year.
And the chamber has a role in this management of the fair, doesn't it?
Yes, we are the management agent that was hired by the UP State Fair Authority. And of course, we work very, very closely with the authority to make sure that we are preserving the tradition and all of the things that the UP State Fair has stood for more than 90 years.
Let's talk about this year's fair. It's August 13th through the 19th?
Yes.
That's what, Monday through Sunday?
Monday through Sunday,
Although
yes.
Monday it starts later in the day, right?
Starts later in the day. It's considered to be preview day. We don't consider it preview day anymore because there's so many activities that are going on. So the gates open at 5 o'clock. We have reduced admission on that Monday night, but you know, there's a full fair going on during that Monday from the time the gates open until the gates close. Okay. Then full time open all day, Monday through Sunday. We used to close at 6 o'clock on Sunday, but in the last 2 years, this will be our 3rd year, we've extended to dusk so that we can have fireworks to really end the fair with a bang.
And some of the featured events I know got on my list. Wednesday is Senior Citizens Day.
Yeah. Yes, yes, and it's OSF Day. So we have corporate sponsors that are involved in the fair, of course. So OSF is typically there on Wednesday. This year they will have a whole series of activities that they have planned, and it'll be in conjunction with Senior Citizens Day.
Okay.
On Tuesday, though, one thing that I would like to mention is that on Tuesday it will be Economic Development Alliance Day. Okay. So in the activities tent we will be celebrating 25 years of Delta County's EDA. With a party in the activities tent.
All right. And Thursday is Honored Citizens Day, and that's the day the governor uses.
Yes, yes it is. And it's also Native American Day. So there's a lot of celebrating that takes place on that Thursday during the governor's visit. And like I said, it'll be a real highlight of the day to have that groundbreaking for the new building, and also to welcome the governor again, and then the celebration that's put on by our Hannahville Indian community.
And Friday is Ladies' Day?
Ladies' Day, very, very popular, a popular day at the fair.
Now, people want to know about grandstand entertainment.
Yeah.
What do we have coming up this year?
We have a great lineup ready. So on Wednesday, we have the UP's Talent Contest, 906 Got Talent, so that'll be Wednesday in the grandstand. Thursday, we have a 90s band, Hanson, which we're getting a lot of interest in that, immediate interest actually. As soon as we announced that this 90s band was going to be at the fair, I think Gold Circle seating sold out within 2 days. So that'll be on Thursday. On Friday, we have Current Country, Granger Smith, who will be in the grandstand. On Friday, Pop Evo.
Okay.
No. On Friday, Saturday night, we'll have Pop Evo. On Friday, we'll have Granger Smith. And on Thursday, we'll have Hanson in the grandstand.
Okay. And these grandstand, there's no charge?
No charge. Free with gate admission to the fair.
With your gate admission?
Yep.
Unless you want to get a special
Yes, exactly.
seat, then you can pay a little extra.
And Sunday we'll end with fireworks after the UPIR stock car races.
And of course, you know, this is really part of the culture of the UP. There are so many county fairs all around, and this is kind of the giant county fair.
That's exactly right.
So I think Saturday is Agriculture Day?
Agriculture Day. We have our livestock auction that takes place. That's sponsored by Tractor Supply Company. And you know, I think that as we looked at the continuation of the UP State Fair, that was absolutely a focus of our attention. We know that during that auction sale, there are so many young exhibitors that are selling their animals, which the proceeds, of course, then are used for their college education or any other type of career development. So it's a very, very important part of the fair.
We have only 20 seconds left. Anything you want to add to make sure people come?
Just that, you know, get out and help us share UP pride statewide.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Okay, a lot of exciting things going on in Delta County, including the fair. I'll be back with some other thoughts for you after I take this break. Another TV season has come to a close for the major broadcast networks, and that means there are a lot of TV friends of ours who won't be around anymore, because a lot of shows that you and I loved won't be returning next year. Time doesn't permit reading the complete list, but the television network can be pretty heartless when it comes to canceling shows. We all get to know the characters who come into our living room each week, and then suddenly they're gone. Many times the season ends with a cliffhanger, or at least the story leads you to believe it will be continuing in the fall, but oftentimes they never come back, and we're left to write our own ending to the story. Of last season's long-running comedies, only a couple of shows had planned endings. ABC announced before the season started it would be the final year for The Middle, and the same was true for New Girl on Fox. But what about the shows that left the air this spring, not knowing they wouldn't be around to keep the story going next fall? CBS pulled the plug on several, including the Kevin James sitcom Kevin Can Wait. That happened even after they brought in Leah Remini, his wife from the former long-running King of Queens, to boost the ratings. I guess it didn't work. CBS is also dropping shows with some other old familiar stars, like 9JKL with Linda Lavin and Superior Donuts with Judd Hirsch. ABC also said goodbye to The Mayor, which really wasn't around long enough for people to get to know. And then Alex Inc. with Zach Braff which was a late season entry. And Kevin probably saved the world. I guess we'll never know if he saved it or not. ABC also said goodbye to Roseanne, but that's a whole different story. Some other shows on Fox also won't be around next fall, including Last Man on Earth, The Mick, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But there is an interesting twist, however. Brooklyn Nine-Nine was picked up by NBC, so it will be coming back next year. And meantime, the Peacock Network will be saying goodbye to great news. In case you don't remember, it's about a mother and daughter working together in a TV newsroom. It also disappeared around mid-year. You know, the networks have a long history of unceremoniously dumping shows, even longtime favorites like Gunsmoke. The show's creators had no idea the network was going to pull the plug after the 1975 season. They ended that season just like any other, so there was no final plot or finale episode for the longest running show on primetime television. The actors of the show were never told about the cancellation. You know, I don't know how you feel about all this, but for me, I like the good old days. Remember when shows like I Love Lucy, Mary Tyler Moore, Seinfeld, and Friends seemed to be around forever? We just waited for them to come back every year, and they did. Well, maybe next year someone will start a long run. Tune in a year from now and we'll find out. I'll be back in a minute. A couple of closing reminders before we go. First, if you missed the show or want to see it again, you can do that at uppermichigansource.com. Today's show will be available starting at about noon tomorrow. But I also want to remind you that you don't have to miss our show because it's now available as a live stream at that same internet address. That means you can watch it live and for a couple of hours later on your cell phone, your computer, or any device, no matter where you are. If you get a chance, check it out. Thanks to Vicki Mishaw for joining us this morning. Make sure you put the UP State Fair on your calendar. And thank you for being with us today. I look forward to seeing you again next Sunday morning.